morning, Kennedy Dragons. Today is Thursday. It is February the 17th, 2022. It's the 116th day of school. My name is Mr. Butcher. It's my job to keep you guys safe so that you can show us how excellent you can be. Hopefully, you've left your average at home or on the bus and you are ready, which means being in the right place at the right time with the right stuff. To have a respectful, which means treat others the way you want to be treated, and responsible, which means doing your job with a smile on your face and having perfect effort. So you're ready to have a respectful and responsible day. Speaking of responsible, our first responsibility is to make sure that we show respect for the rights that we have in this country and at this school. We do this by daily saying the Pledge of Allegiance, the school pledge, as well as doing our moment of silence. To show respect for the rights that we have, we want to stop what we're doing, stand up tall, put our hand over our hearts like this, and say the pledge loudly, clearly, and with pride. If you guys would please stand for the pledge and remain standing for the Kennedy School Pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please remain standing for the Kennedy School Pledge. I pledge myself as a Kennedy Dragon to be ready for the day ahead of me. I'll be respectful of myself, my teachers, and all others I meet throughout the day. I promise to be responsible for myself, my actions, and my learning. I'll work my hardest to be the best dragon I can be. Our second responsibility that we have every morning is to make sure that we keep each other safe by slowing down the spread of germs. We do this by frequently washing our hands. When we wash our hands, we want to use soap and water. If you don't have access to a sink, alcohol-based hand sanitizer will be sufficient. When we wash our hands, we want to get all parts of our hands, the palms of our hands, the backs of our hands, in between our fingers and our fingertips, our wrists and our thumbs. When we wash our hands, we want to make sure that we're doing it for at least 20 seconds. Let's model what good hand washing looks like now. Get the palms of your hands. Get the back of your hand. Get the back of your other hand. Get in between your fingers. Get your fingertips. Get your other set of fingers. Get your thumb. And get your other thumb. Oh, I almost started you. Get your wrist. And your other wrist. And now your hands should be nice and clean. Alright, now that we have done our hand washing and our pledges and our moment of silence, let's go ahead and show respect for those that have birthdays today. Happy birthday to Natanya Simonville, who is 9, and happy birthday to Malachi Gardner, who is 7. We'll make sure you guys get your birthday ribbon. The next responsibility that we have is to make our lunch choices. Today, for lunch, chicken nugget with rolls, creamy mashed potatoes, crunchy broccoli trees, pineapple tidbits, and a brownie. If you do not want chicken nuggets and roll, you can always get PB&J or the yogurt and muffin. But make your lunch choice now. All right, we're continuing in the month of February, and February is Black History Month, where we take time each day to recognize a famous African American who has had a great impact on our country and in the world. Today's famous African American is Toni Morrison. Toni Morrison is an accomplished novelist, editor, and professor, and her writings are usually noted for their African American characters. Her novels are renowned for their epic themes and interesting choice of words. Some of her best-selling novels are Sula, The Song of Solomon, The Bluest Eye, Beloved, Love, A Mercy, and Jazz. She is a winner of the Pulitzer Prize and a Nobel Peace Prize as a novelist. Aside from an array of book world accolades, she also received the Presidential Medal of Freedom in 2012. Toni Morrison is her pen name. She was born on February 18, 1931, as Chloe Anthony Wofford. Toni Morrison was one of the very first black editors at the Random House Publishing firm. She was the first African American to win a Nobel Prize, which was given to her in 1993. In the same year, whereas she was awarded the Nobel Prize. On August 5th, 2019, Toni Morrison died at the age of 88. Among her many awards were the Pulitzer Prize, which she received in 1988, the Nobel Prize, which she received in 1993, and she also earned the respect of Barack Obama. Obama showed her his respect in his quote, "Toni Morrison's prose give us the kind of moral and psychological intensity that few writers ever attempt." Her legacy was on how she portrayed the rampant racism that occurred in her early years and how she kept on fighting for racial equality, as seen even in her latest works. There are only a few people who are as accomplished and distinguished as Toni Morrison in the field of literature. It's now time for our vocabulary and writing activity with our picture of the week. Here's our picture of the week. We do this to build our vocabulary, which is just the words that we can use in the proper context, as well as to help us create some interesting and creative writing. Our picture yesterday, we asked you to look for nouns. We saw dinosaurs, houses, tacos, stairs, roof, boy, dog, different things like that. Today we're looking for verbs, words that show action. What are these dinosaurs doing? What's the boy doing? What's the dog doing? What's happening in the house? And so come up with those verbs. Today's message is on honesty. Did you know that when a cashier hands you back too much change and you keep it, the cashier might have had to make up the difference from his own pocket? That's right. When you keep money that doesn't belong to you, it's the same as if you had stolen it. Listen to this proverb from India. A thief is a thief, whether he steals a diamond or a cucumber. Taking or keeping something that doesn't belong to you is stealing, no matter how you look to choose to look at it. You can make excuses, but the bottom line is stealing, whether it is from a person or a business, is wrong. In the end, someone has to pay. If you've ever stolen something that didn't belong to you, stop and think about the consequences of that action. Then remember, it's never too late to make things right. With something to think about, I'm Mr. Butcher. Make today your masterpiece or not. Remember, the choice is yours. Same thing. If you find something in the hallway that you know is not yours and you keep it as your own, that's kind of like stealing. Or when you are in class and you're supposed to be working, but you're using that time to talk and do other things and not pay attention to the teacher, you're actually stealing your teacher's time. Same thing in the morning. If you guys aren't really paying attention to these announcements, you're kind of stealing my time, because this is our time to talk to you and kind of set the tone for the day. So think about what you're doing and think about the consequences of your actions. All right, there are some times where we are requiring you to wear a mask, like on the bus, or if you're quarantining at school because you were exposed to COVID. So if you're doing that, make sure you're putting your mask on the right way. So put it on over your nose and your mouth. Make sure it's tight around your ears. Make sure it covers your chin. And you guys have a great day. That is all we have for announcements. So please help me.
Me and your teachers keep you safe. That is our job.
And your job is to help us keep you safe.
And you can help us by being a ready, respectful, and responsible student who is focused on graduating in the year.
Because when you are a ready, respectful, and responsible student focused on graduation, you are fully committed to student success. I love you very much. Have a great day. Here's our read aloud for today. It's called In Plain Sight. The author is Richard Jackson. Author is the person who writes the words. The illustrator is Jerry Pinkney. The illustrator is the person who drew the pictures. We're in February, so each of our books is going to have, during the month of February, as we celebrate Black History Month, is going to have a black author or a main character who is an African American. You can kind of see that. As I read, I'm going to try to model what good readers do, which is to read fluently. I'm going to read the words correctly at a good pace, not too fast, not too slow, and with expression. As you read, you get to practice what good readers do as they're listening to a story, whether they're listening to it in their head because they're reading it, or if they're listening to someone else read it. And that is, look for the characters, who or what the story is about. Listen for the setting, where and when the story is taking place. and listen for the sequence of events. What happens first, next, and last? What's the problem in the story? What's the solutions in the stories? What do you think is going to happen next? Ask yourself those questions as you read. That's what good readers do. In Plain Sight, Richard Jackson, illustrated by Jerry Pinko. Sophie lives with Mama and Daddy and Grandpa, who lives by the window. He can see Sophie come and go, call and wave goodbye, hello, as he looks out. So we know we got Sophie, Mommy, Daddy, and Grandpa. You can kind of see they live in looks like a city. And after school each day, Sophie looks in. Here I am, Grandpa, she says. How was the morning? Surprising, he says. I had me a paper clip, you know, nice and shiny. Now it's vanished. Help me find it, will you? With your bright eyes. Where? Says Sophie. That's just it, honey. You have to look. There's a problem. Grandpa lost his paperclip. If you lean close, you might hear Sophie say, oh. And eventually you might hear her say, there! Good, says Grandpa. Thanks, honey. So the solution to the problem of the lost paperclip is she looks, and she finds it. Here I am, says Sophie on Tuesday. Ah, Sophie, he says. How was school? Good. It was a blue day. Well, I can see that. And how about you, Grandpa? Today was regretful. Oh, yes. I had me a rubber band. Stretchy. Boing. Now, boing. That band is gone. Help me find it, huh? So now, after her blue day at school, Grandpa can't find the rubber band. And eventually, in plain sight, here I am, Grandpa, says Sophie on Wednesday. Was today better? Not so much, Grandpa says. Had me a drinking straw, bendy, just right, you remember? Now, it's skedaddled. That's a good vocabulary word, skedaddled. Everything's been missing so far, but skedaddle, maybe they're out of there, moving away. So another problem. Now he's missing his straw. What's her solution? I'll look, says Sophie. I wonder, and eventually, in plain sight. Good girl, Grandpa says. Thanks. We solved another problem. Sophie solved another problem. On Thursday, Sophie says, here I am, Grandpa. Anything missing today? Well, wouldn't you know? Grandpa's favorite painting brush for watercolors. Child, I'm missing that. Can you help me, lovely? Another problem, missing a paintbrush. Solution. I can try, says Sophie. And eventually, in plain sight, here I am, Grandpa. It's Friday at last. You bet, honey, he says, turning his smile to her. But wait, just look. Oh, Grandpa, you silly. Keep the dollar, Sophie. Tomorrow, he says, you can buy yourself something with it. So he gives her a silver dollar. Here I am, Grandpa, says Sophie. Early today. No shopping? Well, best to save that dollar, I guess, for college. Now let's see. Had me what? A lemon drop. Delicious to think of, but then it just trotted off, unlicked. Don't tell me, Grandpa. Now he's missing his lemon drop. Think he's gonna look for it. And eventually, in plain sight, good girl, said Grandpa. No, you have it. Sunday morning as usual, at his door, Sophie turns to say, Grandpa, But Mom hushes her. He's sleeping now, which gives Sophie an idea, and she whispers it to Mama. Daddy laughs when he hears it. All right, he says, if you tiptoe, what do you think's going to happen? What do you think she's going to do? Here's Sophie at her very quietest, her tiptoeingest. That curtain at Grandpa's window, well, keep your eye on it. Look at the curtain at Grandpa's window. Keep your eye on it. And eventually, where's Sophie? Grandpa wakes. Oh, yawns. Oh. Behind the curtain, a commotion. Wiggling, jiggling, giggling. Sophie? Is that you? I'll be, Grandpa says. Here I am, Sophie says. Like always, in plain sight.